Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the teachings of a spiritual movement that has some pretty radical ideas about what's wrong with our world, and an incredibly detailed blueprint for how to transform it.
Okay, right from the jump, the teaching hits you with this really powerful, provocative metaphor. And honestly, if you can wrap your head around this one idea, you're most of the way to understanding the entire philosophy.
So obviously we're not talking about literal buildings here. It's all about the spiritual state of the world. Brothel is the code word for our current world, a place they see as full of impurity and vice. And the Shiva temple, that's the goal, a future heaven on earth, a world of total purity and peace. It's about a radical change from a fallen state to a divine one.
So how is this huge transformation supposed to happen? Well, according to this teaching, it's not accidental. It's actually guided by a divine teacher, and there's a very specific curriculum you have to follow. Think of it like a spiritual university. This knowledge is delivered through what's called a Murali. It's basically a daily spiritual lesson, and it comes from a figure they call the Father, or Bapdada. And this daily study isn't just a friendly suggestion. No, it's framed as absolutely non-negotiable for anyone on this path. And to really hammer home just how critical this study is, the teaching poses a pretty direct question. The answer it gives, well, it's pretty stark.
Yep, the answer is just unequivocal. They say that missing even one single day, for any reason at all, is a huge spiritual loss. The thinking is that the Father reveals new strategies and new points every day. So if you miss one, you've missed a key piece of the puzzle that you just can't get back. And this is where they really draw a line in the sand. You know, the kind of education we all get for a job to earn a living. They see that as temporary, just for this one lifetime. But this divine study, the payoff they're talking about is for the next 21 births. We're not talking about getting a degree here. We're talking about achieving a godlike status.
All right, so if the Murali is the textbook, what's the actual homework? What's the main practice you have to do? Well, it all boils down to one core mental discipline, and it's simple on the surface, but incredibly profound when you dig in.
This three-step process right here, this is the engine that drives the entire transformation. It's about a massive mental shift. First, you have to truly establish, deep down, I am an eternal soul, not this temporary body. Then, from that soul-conscious state, you constantly remember the Father. It's that connection, that remembrance, that is said to dissolve all your past sins.
So you're at a crossroads, and the teaching presents this as a choice between two fires, or two pyres. On one side, you have the pyre of lust. That's the path of vice and worldliness that they say just consumes you. On the other side is the pyre of knowledge. This is the path of purity and remembrance. And jumping on this pyre is what purifies you and leads you to become, as they put it, supremely fortunate.
And when you make that choice, it kicks off this fundamental shift in your very identity. See, right now the teaching claims we're all in the state of being a worshiper, performing rituals, looking up to others. The goal of this whole process is to completely flip that script, to turn you from someone who worships into someone who becomes worthy of worship themselves.
Okay, so this whole transformation isn't just about sitting and thinking on your own. There's a call to action, a mandate for what they call service or outreach. And they are very, very specific about who you're supposed to reach out to.
Yeah, the instruction is to go and perform service for the most fallen of the fallen. The text even specifically calls out prostitutes. And the logic here is really interesting. The idea is that those who have fallen the furthest actually have the potential to rise the highest. If they can just absorb this knowledge, they can become literally the empresses of the future, heaven on earth.
So the whole point is to focus your efforts on those who need a new path the most. The teaching argues that the wealthy are often too trapped by pride and, fashion and worldly things. But the poor and the fallen, their hearts are said to be more open. And the text is actually really practical about this. It recognizes the social friction and even says, hey, if you need to open separate centers to accommodate everyone, then do it.
So let's bring it all together. You do the study, you do the remembrance, you do the service. What's the end game? What's the ultimate goal of all this effort? It's about embodying a completely new way of being.
And this goes way beyond just believing something in your head. We're talking about a total overhaul of your behavior, your conduct, how you carry yourself.
The aim is to develop what's called a royal character. The logic is pretty simple. If God himself is your teacher, then your actions have to reflect that incredibly high status.
So what you see here is this grand, cyclical story of the soul's journey. We started out as divine heaven dwellers in a pure world. Over time, we fell into our current state as hell dwellers, trapped in impurity. But, and this is the whole point, we are now at the crucial turning point. The one time it's possible to use this knowledge to reclaim that original divine status and become heaven dwellers once again.
And the power that this practice of remembrance is said to have, it's just staggering. That little fraction you see, 1/2, that represents the claim that sincere, focused remembrance can literally burn away all the accumulated sins from the last half a cycle of time. I mean, think about that. We're talking about eons of negative karma, just gone. All of it erased, they claim, by the power of your own focused mind.
And that brings our explainer to a close, leaving us with this final provocative thought. If a single focused thought can truly erase half a cycle's worth of sins, what does that tell us about the power this philosophy sees in the human mind? It suggests that your mind, when focused in the right way, isn't just a tool for change. It's the most powerful force for transformation in the entire universe.